Hi, and thanks for joining us. Hopefully this looks familiar to you. We're going to take an in-depth look at the 2020 Emergency Response Guidebook in a multi-episode series where we'll pick the book apart, we'll look at it section by section so that you have a better understanding. Be sure and stay with us. Hey, I'm here with Bella today. Thanks for joining us again. We want to emphasize that this is your channel and we want this to be a go-to option for you, a go-to resource. So make sure that you put your questions down in the comment section. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you'll be sure to know exactly when we update our content and add some new stuff. Again, this is going to be a multi-episode series on the Emergency Response Guidebook, and I want you to look at this resource as a toolkit, kind of a resource, and not just section by section stacked on top of each other, but a resource where each section builds on the next. They complement one another, they build on each other to have, at the end of the day, they have a very much of a toolkit type of perspective so that you have a successful outcome for your hazmat incident. The product here is published by PHMSA, the Pipeline Hazardous Materials and Safety Administration. Their objective, along with the collaboration for several other countries, primarily Canada and Mexico, as well as Argentina, but their objective in the U.S. is to put a copy of the book, an updated copy of the book. The 2020 is the most current revision, but an updated copy of the book in every emergency response vehicle that is publicly owned in the United States. So if you don't have an updated copy by now, this is taped in January of 2021. So the 2020 edition is on the street, it's out there, it's available. So if you don't have a copy of the book for your agency, make sure you talk to your local emergency management coordinator. They're also commercially available, so if you've gotten your allotment from your emergency management coordinator, either at the local level, county level, state level, whatever the case may be, and you need more, they are commercially available. I'll put a link in the description for a couple of different vendors where you can actually buy. We're not affiliates of PHMSA or any of the vendors, but you can purchase those, and I'll put some links down there to help you out. So the book does two major things for us as hazmat responders, whether you be awareness level, operations level, whatever the case may be. There's two major objectives to the book. The first is to identify specific hazards sometimes, and we'll pick this apart as we go through in the other episodes, but sometimes they're more generalized description of hazards, but in a lot of cases we can identify specific hazards for a number of different things. Again, tune into the subsequent episodes as we pick the sections apart, and we'll see what that's all about. The second major objective for the book is for you as the responder to be able to protect yourself and to protect the public in the initial phase of the response. The initial phase being that first 30 minutes or so of a response. So in the way that I look at this, if you can do that, and maybe only do that, and that by that I mean protect yourself and protect the public, if that's all you get accomplished, that's a win. That's good. That's a good thing. If we stop there, if we're never able to move any farther through an incident, then protection of the responder and protection of the public, and maybe accomplish some evacuations, that's a win. That's a great thing. The book is primarily designed, it's important to remember this, it's primarily designed for transportation. However, it does a lot of other things for secondary containers, for things that you may see, smaller boxes. If you see a label, if you have information that you get from other places, the book is usable. Just remember, it's primarily designed for transportation. One thing that you won't see in the ERG is chemical and physical properties. It's just not there. Chemical and physical property interpretation is, generally speaking, is a more advanced level skill. It's a technician level skill. The book, again, is designed for keeping you safe, keeping you protected as the responder and protection of the public. So chemical and physical properties, again, is a little more advanced, a little farther into the incident in most cases. So what we want to do is take your experience as a firefighter, law enforcement officer, whatever the case may be, and combine with the information that's in the book. And as we pull those pieces and parts apart as we go through the subsequent episodes, you'll see how that works in combination with information that you already know, information that you've learned over the years through your experience. I would encourage you, and again, we're not affiliates with Gordon Graham, but I would encourage you to go to Google or YouTube, either one, and you can Google Gordon Graham, high risk, low frequency. So I'll say it again, Gordon Graham, high risk, low frequency, and it'll pop right up. Gordon does a great job. He's a career law enforcement officer. He's an attorney. He's a lot of different things. He's got a lot of experience in risk management, but he does an excellent presentation. It's several years old, but he does an excellent presentation on incidents that we don't do very often that have a tendency to go very bad. And hazardous materials incidents can fall into that category. So I encourage you to look that up and incorporate that into your training. It's something that I've seen of that video. I've probably seen it 100 times, and I get something different out of it every time. Again, we're not affiliates with him. I'm just a huge fan. So I would encourage you to do that. In kind of wrapping up and then segue into the other episodes, I want to leave you with a couple of things. The book offers some high level guidance beyond placard numbers, beyond just looking up the chemical name and the 4-digit ID number. There's a number of things that the book does really, really well. I want you to turn to page 4. If you've got your book, turn with us to page 4, and you'll see the safety precautions. And this is a single page guidance for just about anything that you'll run into from a hazmat standpoint. Just about any incident that you'll ever respond to, these safety precautions are applicable. So kind of, again, as a high level, as a guidance in conjunction with your policies and your procedures that you already have in place, these are really good safety precautions that you can use to help keep you on track, to help get you started if you need help getting started on an incident response, but also to help keep you on track more than anything. Turn over to page 5. You'll see some information on notifications. So you want to make sure that once you get the incident started, once you kind of get your mental arms around the incident, once you kind of feel like, okay, I know what I've got here, but what's the next step? I'm keeping myself safe, I'm doing some evacuations, but now what next? We'll talk about a lot of those things, some offensive and defensive measures, as we look in more in depth to the book. But one of the things that you can do and need to do really early in the process is notifications, and local authority notifications is one of them. Also, there's guidance there on page 5 for the emergency response phone number that you'll get off of the shipping paper. So there's a good prompt for that to remind you and kind of explains that process. And then for national level assistance, you want to make sure that if there's folks like Chemtrek or some of the others, if you're in another country, if you're in Canada, Canutech is another option. But here in the United States, Chemtrek is a really good option for those incidents where you don't have a lot of information and you kind of are looking for some options at that national level. So that's something you can go there for. So page 4 and 5, extremely helpful. So what we've talked about really is kind of the 10,000 foot view, if you will, for the Emergency Response Guidebook. Again, remember, this book is not just the sum of its parts. It's a toolkit. It's a resource that we can use for a number of different things. Stay with us. So in our next episodes, we're going to concentrate on the flow chart. on the yellow and blue pages and leading into the orange pages, which is essentially the meat and potatoes of the book. So be sure and tune in with us again. This is your channel. We want to be a resource for you for any questions that you may have, whether it be on the Emergency Response Guidebook or anything. This is going to be a long journey. We're going to have a number of different things that we're going to go over on the channel here. So be sure and put your questions and comments down in that section, and be sure and subscribe and let us know what you're looking for, what you need, and what you're seeing out there in the field. Thanks.